Three, two, one. Welcome back to the Wannabe Artists podcast. I'm your host. I'm Justin.
And I'm Josh.
It is a very sad, gloomy day today. We probably shouldn't even be recording. Like fuck this episode.
So if you didn't know, which you didn't know, but we just recorded like an hour and a half segment on Chappell Roan and her album, Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, and we lost it. So
Yep. It was bound to happen at some point.
and it was probably one of the best discussions we've had.
Yeah, and it's
But-
gone because
Yeah.
I made the dumbest, most noob mistake of all time, and I should have been more careful. But you know what?
It happens. It happens.
It happens. You learn.
You live and you learn.
Oh my god.
Well,
Yeah,
we're
I'm
here though.
We're
here.
We're trying.
We're here again for us, but this is the start for you.
Yeah,
you
this
all
is
listening.
a downer beginning to the episode.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I don't know.
We're not gonna quit. We're gonna at least finish what we plan to talk about.
I don't know if hacker technology is going to progress to this point, but if someone can like dig up that lost conversation, I don't know how you would do that. But if someone can, if you're listening to this in like 2050, like please do, bro, because that conversation needed to see the light of day, and it will never now.
Yeah, but it's literally all my fault, and yeah, I'm responsible for that.
It's okay.
But it tracks because it's been a bad day today. Some other side things that happened today.
It was it was one thing.
It was one thing, but you know what? It feels like a big.
I think you're looking too pessimistic because that's just one thing of the multiple things we did today. So
yeah.
All right.
Anyway, though, that's just my life. It sucks. It's the worst, and you guys would not be able to stomach it. Anyway, yeah. So we're talking about the Chappell Roan album because Joshua wanted to bring this up as a topic of discussion.
Yeah,
and we talked about her album.
Yeah, we had a track by track analysis and talked about all the backstory and everything, which you guys can research in your own time because you don't have a podcast to hear about it now. But
yeah.
Overall thoughts, just to give something about this topic. You go first.
Okay. I initially was not on board with Chappell Roan. I was very, I'd say, kind of annoyed with just how she was sitting in pop culture because she's impossible to avoid. And I was letting that perspective that I had kind of infiltrate how I felt about her. But I actually sat down and gave her a fair listen, and I do genuinely respect her as an artist and her storytelling. And I think there's a lot of really standout tracks: Red Wine Supernova, Feminine Nomenon, and Casual, which are some of my favorites that I do enjoy. However, there's a lot I do not enjoy.
Yeah.
Hot to Go, My Kink is Karma, Pink Pony Club.
I had a few reservations about these opinions.
Yeah, we argued about this. I'm not into the gimmickiness of them, and I wish I could elaborate, but you know what? It'd be redundant for us.
What's your rating?
Yeah, I'd give it a strong 7 out of 10.
All right. My turn. Me personally, I am completely sort of obsessed with her music right now. Heavy Rotation, probably one of my favorite albums of 2023. And yeah, I would name standout tracks, but I like every track off the album, so no point. And I would rate this album a strong 9, leaning towards a 10. And yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry guys. I wanted that conversation to be out there, but you know what?
It's somewhere. Let's just keep telling ourselves that it's somewhere and it will be found.
Okay.
Like,
I'm gonna try to be more positive going forward through this episode
because we still have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it was a genuinely good discussion.
Yeah.
And
just a little disappointing.
Yeah, that we got to have it was good. It was nice, and it's unfortunate that you guys will never hear it.
And I said a few things that will maybe change Justin's perspective on Chappell Roan.
Yeah.
In the future, perhaps.
It could have been nice if it was actually documented, but whatever.
it happened. We know it. That's all that matters. All right.
Fuck it. So we wanted to talk about another hot topic, and I thought it was very timely because it's Halloween time, the month of October.
Spooky.
Very scary, spooky
Scary.
Ooh.
All right.
So we're going to be talking about the infamous Terrifier franchise.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Created by Damien Leone.
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone that doesn't know, which is kind of crazy if you don't, this franchise features Art the Clown.
Yes.
Who is a very sadistic serial killer. This is a slasher franchise.
Yeah.
And the most recent entry we just saw today, Terrifier 3, we'll be having a longer discussion about that, but I guess let's just kind of go over the first two entries of the series. I don't know. What's your experience been with Terrifier?
So, this is gonna sound a bit shameful, but I discovered Terrifier, and I sort of half watched it through Dead Meat, the YouTube channel Dead Meat, and that's not the best way to consume movies because you're getting a very condensed version. I love his content though.
Yeah,
it's great content. I'm not downplaying it, but yeah, it's not the best way for a first viewing of a movie, but yeah, that's how I discovered Terrifier, and I actually did check it out for myself for a proper watch. And it's quite a weird movie. It's not the most well made on a technical level, but when we're talking practical effects and gore, it delivers, and I respected it for that, even if I didn't enjoy the movie as a whole a lot.
Yeah. There's certain things to respect. Yeah. The practical nature of the gore and violence is very admirable because Damien Leone, he handles the makeup and the special effects,
and he's honestly a master. At this point, confidently can say.
Yeah, he directs and he writes while the writing isn't great,
and he edits. The editing isn't great, but
it's a lot. It's
very commendable.
Yeah, it's commendable, and it's a lot to tackle as like your first really huge project.
And these weak points do improve as the series goes on.
Yeah,
I will say.
But yeah, the first one, I actually remember stumbling upon this a long time ago. I think in 2018 or 17.
Wow.
So like a year or two after it came out.
Oh, it came out in 2016?
Yes.
Oh, that's an old movie.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a very mindless, very amateur slasher.
Yeah.
The plot is non-existent. Writing, characters terrible.
Acting.
Yeah, horrendous. Horrendous. And it just feels like the most cheaply made thing ever.
Yeah.
Aside from, of course, the gore and special effects, and Art the Clown himself, this presence and performance was something that immediately stood out to me, and I was like, there's potential here.
Yeah. It's already sort of like, it feels very comfortable, like the performance. It doesn't feel like amateurish in the way that other aspects of the movie do.
Yeah. Art the Clown, he's played by David Howard Thornton. And yeah, he does an amazing job.
He does an amazing job in every movie of this franchise.
That Grinch movie that came out recently, he was the Grinch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But yeah, not a great movie, but there was a glimmer of hope with this performance.
I will say, I do really enjoy the mean-spirited nature of this movie.
Yeah.
Because things are so amateurish, story-wise, it feels kind of really real, because most of the time life doesn't play out like a story. Sometimes atrocious things happen, and it's not very fun to watch. And I do appreciate that aspect of this movie, even if it's not really working in its favor. It's still something interesting that I want to point out.
Yeah, it's nice to have a very dark and like unforgiving horror movie in this day and age.
Yeah, where things are so babied.
Yeah,
like brought down to like the lowest level to appeal to audiences.
Yeah, I'm glad that people are actually trying to enjoy slashers now. This kind of brought back the love for that.
Enjoy horror movies that feel like horrifying.
Yeah,
like they're not just like standard. They feel like they're pushing the boundaries, because that's what the genre is all about.
Yeah, and like we keep mentioning, the kills are great. This one has a very infamous kill, which kind of starts like a trend throughout the series.
Yeah,
very standout kill where one of the friends, I think her name's like Dawn or something, dumb blonde number 58.
Yeah,
Art the Clown strings her up naked and proceeds to saw her in half, starting from her genitals.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
we go all the way down.
yeah, oh my
in
god,
gory detail, and it is glorious.
Yeah, and you're
as
not gonna
much as it is disgusting.
Yeah, you're not gonna see something else like that anywhere else. And I know it's very fratty and edgy to say, but like, yeah, that always stood out to me, and it's genuinely like you'll sit there and you'll just be in awe of like how disgusting.
In a movie that's not great, it's low-key an amazing moment. Like,
Yeah,
to have.
Just a couple things that I really found annoying.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he uses firearms and guns. I can't get behind that. Like,
Really?
Yeah.
Is that an issue that remains with the rest of the movies too? Like for you? Because I think he uses a gun in every movie.
Yeah, it's another thing where it's like, okay, this one, it started the trend, so I've accepted it now. But with a slasher, I just think it is like a betrayal
of the medium.
The medium genre. And yeah, the central like antagonist to be using like a gun. Like that's just so ridiculous. And I see all a lot of people say like, oh, it was so unexpected for him to pull out a gun. Yeah, it was unexpected, but that was so cheap and lame.
Yeah, I mean, I actually disagree with you on this one. I don't mind it. I'm glad we're doing something different from the standard slasher, because I feel like one of the main appeals of art is that he feels invincible.
Yeah.
Like when he's killing someone, you know that there's no chance of survival.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like the gun sort of works to like show that he always has a trick up his sleeve. And I don't know. I definitely think the gun gets worse throughout the franchise, because when it's used in this movie, I think it's like probably like the funniest moment because it's so unexpected. But then when he pulls it out later, like the joke has already been done before.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see your perspective on how it feels cheap.
It's just like the easiest trick in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, this movie establishes him as like a very durable slasher villain.
Yeah.
But it's revealed that he's like this supernatural entity that can come back to life.
Yeah.
And I was really not on board with that.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Are you talking about like the ending scene where he comes back to life? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, we're doing this now.
Yeah. And the movie the series definitely goes fully into that, for better or worse.
Yeah.
But I can respect the fact that they aren't being wishy-washy with it for the sake of creating more sequels. Like they're trying to incorporate a story with it. But yeah.
Yeah. That's Terrifier 1. I'd give it a 2 out of 10. Oh, yeah.
Damn, bro. I give it like a 4 out of 10. Just because the bad aspects are really bad, but the good aspects I think are really good. So it doesn't work to make a good movie, but it works to make something that I won't just like dismiss as like really bad.
I see.
Yeah.
And moving on, we have Terrifier 2. And so yeah, this is a follow-up that came out in 2022. And this was, I guess, the one to really cement this franchise and Art the Clown in like pop culture. Because I feel like everyone was on board and like was aware of this series because of this movie.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's obviously because of the bedroom scene.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows of it if you're at least a little familiar with pop culture. Like it's become such an infamous like 2 girls 1 cup kind of thing where like you show it to your friends because it's just so insane and disgusting.
Yeah, if you're in the world of horror, you should definitely be aware of this.
Yeah, but honestly, this movie is like the first one, but trying to be a film.
Yeah.
And you can see the improvements being made. It's a much more dragged out experience, but it also feels like a more complete experience.
Oh yeah, because the runtime is stretching out to just under 2 hours 20 minutes, which I think is a insane criminal sin for a slasher movie.
Yeah. And you can feel it too.
Yeah.
Like, I think this movie was edited solely by the director, Damien Leone. And you can tell that some more eyes were needed in the editing room because there's a lot of fat that can be trimmed. Like you can legit just feel like when a scene is dragging too long, and it happens constantly in this movie.
Yeah, in concept, it's cool to have like a slasher on this scale
Mm-hmm.
that's like this lengthy.
Yeah.
But it's all about that execution. There's
Yeah.
so much unnecessary padding
Yeah.
and wasted time in this movie.
I think the concept of a 2.5-hour slasher film sounds sick in my head.
Yeah.
Like, but this story, there isn't enough substance to make a 2.5-hour slasher film.
Absolutely not. Because they're trying to establish some like lore with the two leads,
which I think is a good thing for the franchise, but the way it's executed is a little, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think honestly having like a final girl
Mm-hmm.
and then her little brother,
Mm-hmm.
it does add something fresh to this series because we need someone to root for,
not just like nameless, forgettable characters that are just like walking meat puppets.
Yeah, exactly.
to be killed. And
not to say their character development is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is very much like, oh, it's like still trying to be a movie. It's
but
trying
it
to be a movie.
exists.
Yeah,
At least it exists.
Yeah.
But great part is that the gore is also ramped up in this movie. Obviously, we mentioned the bedroom scene.
Oh my goodness!
But just about every kill in this movie feels like a step up from the original.
Yeah.
And those are the best moments of the movie, and it's what makes it stick out despite all the very obvious flaws that it has.
Yeah, I know. I think we should highlight that infamous scene a little more because I think that's like the peak of this movie.
Uh-huh.
And it's a very graphic, intense kill that Art commits to this nameless friend, victim number 1000.
Yeah.
And he absolutely fillets her.
I know. It is quite the sight to see.
Yeah.
And I think this whole movie tends to drag out all of its scenes, but I think this is the one moment where it works really well because it is just relentless. The scene goes on for multiple minutes of just him doing the most heinous things he can think of to this poor woman.
Like rips both of her arms like in different ways, like folds one up and then rips
hot dog style.
Yeah, hot dog
style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
stabs her in the back, rips off her back.
Yeah.
Pours salt on it.
Like cuts into her eye.
Cuts one of her eyes out, scalps her.
Yeah.
It is crazy. And obviously the practical effects are probably the best this franchise has to offer. It is such a disgusting kill because the effects are done so well.
Yeah, I think they spent like a little under a week filming this entire scene, which is very commendable that there's this much dedication going into one kill scene.
It's funny that like it's only because the movie was delayed from COVID that they extended this scene out to
That's right, yeah.
what it became, which is I was gonna relate this to Chappell Roan the pandemic, but they didn't hear that discussion. But no, just showing the opposite side of the coin that sometimes that the pandemic has offered some great things. And this scene is an example.
Yeah.
As messed up as it is to say, but like that, like something this horrifying and messed up is low-key an amazing piece of art.
Amazing piece of what?
Oh, I said it.
Gotcha. But yeah, the rest of this movie going forward is an absolute slog.
Oh yeah.
And it's
with a few good kills in the mix.
The attempts at fleshing out this world and like having a proper plot is like laughable.
Yeah.
But they're trying.
Yeah. At least they're trying to make a movie this time.
They're trying to establish. So the main character Sienna, who's like the final girl type, she has this like kind of past and story with her dad.
Yeah. And she has this like destiny to defeat art.
Yeah, defeat evil and like use this magical sword and become this superhero character that her dad drew and created.
Yeah.
And they have an epic showdown and it's awesome.
It's really long and it's really weird. Like borderline incomprehensible, like what is actually going on. But it's a way to end a horror movie,
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's another really good effect. Art is killed, decapitated, and he's kind of like rebirthed by one of his victims. And there's a really good effect of his head coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought was cool.
Yeah, it's a funny scene.
Yeah. But, ratings, I'd give this one a 4 out of 10.
I'll give this one a 5 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. But moving on, we have the latest entry, Terrifier 3.
Oh.
Yeah, and this one is a Christmas set movie, and it follows Art and the characters 5 years later as he returns to wreak havoc. And we just saw this a couple hours ago. Joshua, how did you feel about this one?
So before we talk about the movie, I just want to mention the experience we had with this crowd. It was probably the worst theater experience I've had in my life. Like, genuinely. I'm talking crowd wise. I think individually I've had worse experiences. I remember one time we saw, it was some throwaway like Marvel type movie. I don't know, but I went to the bathroom and threw up for like half an hour because I got like food poisoning. So that definitely takes the cake as the worst theater experience I've ever had. But I don't know. This crowd was horrendous. So to our left, there's like a group of like, I swear to God, like 50 like middle school kids that are just chatting it up the whole movie. It's like watching a movie on your phone while you're at like school.
Yeah,
but
like
it's
in
like
the cafeteria.
Yeah, in the cafeteria or something. It was fucking obnoxious. And then in front of me to my right, there's a lady that's just on her phone the whole time. So when I'm trying to lock in and like consume the movie, I can just see that bright light in the bottom right, and that rhymed. And she is like on Amazon. She's texting. A notification went off at one point, and she didn't have her silencer on.
Instagram video went off.
Oh yeah, in the middle of like, it was just in the middle of like the climax of the movie.
Yeah,
it was just like come on, like can we like learn theater etiquette, please?
Yeah, that shit's the worst, and it seems like it's only getting worse because our generation is a bunch of brain rot TikTok monkeys.
It's the same thing with concerts too. Like,
yeah,
seriously, like kids need to learn concert.
Oh my god, yeah, you see all those clips of people like intentionally singing at like a Clairo concert,
yeah,
like terribly.
And they're screaming.
Yeah, singing.
I love it when people sing at concerts, but you can't just scream. Like you need to sing pitches. They don't need to be on pitch all the time, because like you're there to have fun. But like if you're screaming, that's just obnoxious.
Yeah,
side tangent. But anyways,
oh yeah, we're talking about this movie,
Terrifier 3.
What did you think of this movie?
I enjoyed it. This is, I think, the first movie in the franchise that like I enjoyed. I don't think any of its flaws brought it down to a level below enjoyment. It just feels like another entry in the series and another entry moving forward, having more just improvements on all fronts.
Okay.
But we'll get more into it in detail. But that's my general sort of feeling on this movie as of now. But what about you?
Honestly, I kind of see this like on the same level as the second one. Like it didn't really make too many noticeable improvements in terms of like filmmaking or writing. It's very much giving you more of what you expect, yeah, and what you probably enjoyed in the first two. So yeah, I'm just like, unfortunately, I don't have too much to say, but it's fun.
I think this movie definitely looks better. Like, the way things are shot, it definitely has a much more cohesive sort of, what's the word? Like the colors. I don't know. There was something about the second movie that just felt all over the place visually.
Like the lighting?
I guess the lighting, yeah.
The lighting composition was all a lot better in this movie.
Yeah.
This is the first one that doesn't look like a porno.
A B movie, yeah. It looks like a movie.
Yeah.
Which is great. And
but also it doesn't look amazing. Like there's the very stereotypical like, oh, make it kind of grainy looking to make it look more professional.
Which feels kind of forced.
I'm being a little picky, but
because it still does look better.
Yeah.
Like when you look at it. I also think the acting is better, which is not a very high compliment, but it is something that's improved. The acting in this movie was the least egregious.
Yeah.
I think of the three movies.
Yeah, there's no performance where I was like, oh my god, this.
Yeah, like what are we doing?
Atrocious, but aside from children that were in the movie.
But like children are bad in good movies. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we're not giving it a pass, but we're just saying like it's something you see in everywhere.
Yeah. Lauren Lavera, who plays Sienna.
Yeah.
I think she's really great.
Yeah, she's definitely the best actor.
Good final girl.
Very, I won't say likable, but you root for her.
Yeah.
The movie does a good job at making you root for her. And she has charisma too.
Mm.
She can definitely be a badass, but she can also play a very like scared role when the movie calls for it very well. Like she hits all the emotions for whatever the movie calls for.
Yeah.
At whatever moment. Yeah.
She's pretty cute too.
She looks like Mila Kunis.
She does, kind of.
Yeah.
Mila Kunis, and there was someone else who I was reminded of. I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to me later.
Yeah.
But yeah. David Howard Thornton, great as always. Yeah.
Oh, no, he's the best.
Yeah.
No, his charisma in like every Terrifier movie is just so like, it's just a step above everything else that's going on because he feels so like comfortable in the character.
Oh yeah.
He's really, I think in this movie, he's shown that he's really locked into like the mannerisms, when to be humorous, how to be humorous, like because Art's basically like a mime.
Yeah.
But he's a mime in the most like derogatory and like gruesome way possible. And I love that for the character, bro. Like that's just such a fun antagonist to have.
Yeah, I love how out of pocket he is. I feel like this is the least disgusting he's been in this series, in this movie. I don't know. Did he do anything with poop?
Okay, well, he didn't do anything with poop.
Oh no, he was peeing on people.
Yeah, he did pee on a guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Sort of adding on to that, I definitely think this movie is the least mean-spirited of the three. Because
actually?
And it's weird. I think it's because it's feeling more like a movie in its looks.
Yeah.
I think the B-movie quality, while not aiding the film, gave the first two films this sort of weird air, especially because the practical effects are so good.
Mm-hmm.
But now that the movie looks more professional, the practical effects looking good, they don't feel like you're watching like lost footage.
Yeah.
They feel more like a movie. So that's why I feel like less mean-spirited energy when I see these kills.
I don't know if I can agree with that because he's still doing his typical thing.
Yeah.
He's going around not giving a fuck about who he kills and what situation he ruins.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's absolutely destroying people.
And this definitely has like the most hopeless ending of the three. I guess the first one doesn't really have an ending, but
I don't know, man. It's pretty mean-spirited when you kill a bunch of children in a mall.
True.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I guess the way it's presented feels like a little comical.
Yeah.
Which is horrible to say. But
no, I was smiling during those scenes. Like,
yeah. That scene was hilarious, I'm gonna be honest. Because that kid was like, I wonder what I got. And a boom.
Dude, honestly, this movie genuinely gets points for me because of how many children it kills.
I think this is the record for the series. Like, amount of children killed.
Yeah.
Like, they kill. I think it's in the double digits, like the amount.
I'll clap for that one.
Yep.
Art, you did a good job killing children. We hope to see that in movies more.
Yeah. I don't know why it's so difficult. Like, just kill them. You can kill adults, so just kill
But on
children.
a more serious note, like, genuinely, I think this movie does further cement like Art the Clown as a horror icon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's showing up in like Spirit Halloween, Party City now.
Yeah.
Like he's everywhere. Yeah. And I think that's another admirable thing how this franchise started from absolutely nothing and it's pretty iconic now.
And I'm not angry about it at all because I think this movie is very healthy for just the horror genre in general because what it's doing is something that I feel like horror should be doing more often and is making the audience feel disgusted.
Yeah.
And making the audience not feel good after watching it. Because to me, that's the point of horror. Like after finishing a horror film, you should be like, your life should feel a bit worse after. That's because like, although that doesn't sound like a good thing, like the point of art is to be emotionally impactful and horror should be emotionally impactful in that very specific and sort of horrible way.
I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment because I feel like studios like Blumhouse and a lot of the throwaway horror you'll see has just been conditioning audiences to expect just whatever experiences.
Yeah.
And ones that aren't going to stick with you because Terrifier definitely will stick with you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we have these. And like, it's already confirmed we're getting a Terrifier 4.
Yeah. Which I mean, great.
Yeah. Like,
hopefully we see improvements to make one of these movies in this franchise like a good film. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As much as I dog on this series, like I'll keep watching it.
Yeah.
Every
support
entry
it in the theaters because I think everyone should watch these movies because I think the more accustomed to crazy gore we get, the higher the ceiling is gonna be extended.
Yeah,
and we're gonna see even crazier stuff in whatever new movies in the future and whatever new things people choose to do.
It's definitely happening. Like,
Yeah.
people really love the substance, which me and Kevin talked about.
Yeah.
And I think audiences are becoming more comfortable with out there kind of stories.
Yeah.
I love watching Art do his thing, being a naughty little boy, and if you keep putting him in crazy settings, I think,
dude,
the possibilities are endless.
Something that stuck out to me in this film was the whole Santa sequence in the bar.
Yeah.
Being completely honest, that whole scene did not need to be in the movie.
Yeah.
It was dragged out the shit, but I loved it, man. Like, it was just so much fun seeing Art like be probably the most devious he's ever been, like acting so like excited to see the Santa and then peeing on his lap and then just killing him after. Was like, it was just a sequence that was dragged out and obviously didn't need to be in the movie. Like, it felt like a deleted scene in the movie, but it was just so much fun that I couldn't help but like love it.
Yeah, there's some really great kills. Like, with that scene, he uses a nitrous oxide tank as one of his like main weapons, and he freezes up the Santa Man.
Yeah, and then like punches it.
Yeah,
so like he
punches. He uses like an ice pick.
Yeah.
It's really great effects there.
He does use a gun in this scene.
Oh yeah. Just pulls his infamous black bag out, trash bag.
There's something that this movie does that I kind of have a problem with, is if there's multiple people with Art, he'll kill everyone in a very mundane way, but then kill one person very brutally.
Yeah.
And it feels like he should spread the love towards everyone. I think these multi-kill scenes will be much more impactful if they have like a planned out death for everyone, which is a lot of work and a lot to ask for. But I don't know, man. There's not really a point in having multiple people at that point if you're just going to shoot them in the head or something.
I mean, you didn't feel like he spread the love in the shower sequence?
Okay. The shower sequence is like the scene in this movie.
Yeah.
So obviously like that he's going to spread the love there in like the titular scene of this movie. But like, I'm just talking like generally, like most of the time, like with the demolition guys, like that one guy got like a way worse death than the other. The Santa scene, even like the climax, like the daughter just fell into hell, while the mom got like that crazy rat death. It's not a big deal because like we're still getting one like really insane death. It just kind of like feels puzzling that like, why would Art just shoot that one guy? Like, that guy get it off so easy.
Dude, that one was awesome though. The shower.
Oh yeah,
chainsaw activity.
So yeah, that was the bedroom scene of this movie.
Yeah,
and it was great. Like, there's some issues, and I think my main issue comes down to the sound. I don't know where Art got this chainsaw, but it's like the world's loudest chainsaw you'll ever hear. It's more of an issue for when he uses it later, but like, I don't know. They should have turned it down a little because like it was ear piercing.
I don't know, man. I think chainsaws are pretty.
I mean, chainsaws are loud.
They're pretty loud.
When you're consuming a piece of media, the levels have to be at a point where like the audience, they can get the point of like how loud it is without it like actually being that loud. If that makes any sense.
I think the effect adds a lot that they really emphasize on the chainsaw sound.
It definitely adds to the intensity.
Yeah.
But yeah.
A glorious kill.
It's double kill.
Yeah, saws up this little double kill. But the guy in the scenario, he gets sawed to shreds.
He gets fucked by the chainsaw first.
Yeah, literally sticks it up his butt.
Which was insane. And then he gets the Dawn treatment from Terrifier 1.
Oh yeah.
Except he's on the floor this time, and we see his genitals of the male variety.
Good money shots.
It was pretty insane.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that girl though that died. I really liked how they handled her because she was completely unlikable. She's basically this like podcaster who talks about true crime, and she's sort of engaging with our two main characters in a really disrespectful way, wanting them to be guests on her podcast and basically relive the trauma that they went through 5 years ago. And it's sort of like this social commentary you don't expect from a movie like this, of how like true crime creators and that whole genre in general, how it can be exploitative of real trauma and how messed up it is. And I feel like her dying in the goriest scene of the movie is Damien Leone's way of saying like F you to those people.
Yeah.
Because fuck them, bro. Like,
No,
honestly,
I
bro,
like that.
she pissed me off so much. And when I see her get that brutal, like, sawed in half death, I'm like, yes, like,
Yeah,
thank
dude.
God.
This is my problem with like shows like Dahmer. Like I hate this fascination with the past and like
people's trauma.
Yeah, people's trauma that we obsess over.
Uh-huh.
And regardless of how disrespectful it is to like retell it, we
Yeah.
do it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's nice that Terrifier 3 is going like, fuck those people.
Oh God. It's a little scary that he killed a podcaster because we're podcasting right now, but
Nah, he'd go for Haktua first.
Talktua. True. Actually, no, because he'd appreciate. Dude, Art the Clown would fuck with Talktua. It's high art. Oh my God, we did that bit in the fucking Lost Chappell Roan segment, but Talktua is high art. If you didn't know.
Nah, everyone knows. Lunchley, Talktua.
Think of it by KSI.
Yeah.
God Trio.
High art. And Art the Clown.
Oh, Dream Blunt rotation. All right. But yeah, that's the shower scene.
I know. Is there anything else you want to highlight?
Let's talk about the climax of this movie because I thought it was interesting. I definitely think it was a much better way to end the movie than the second one. It definitely felt more cohesive, and fitting with the narrative. I want to know how you feel about the whole like supernatural element of this story because they definitely expand upon the lore and everything like even further in this one.
It just like it doesn't resonate with me at all. Like it's so, oh, you're doing that, and like
it feels shoved in.
Yeah,
because there's not enough stuff related to that happening during like the main parts of these movies to sort of
the build up.
Yeah, to sort of make it feel like it's in place.
Yeah, those are like the most groan worthy. Like, oh, I could just go to the bathroom right now scenes.
Yeah,
and like genuinely throughout all of the movie, I'm just like, okay, can we get back to some violence and gore?
Yeah. Are you talking more about like the flashback scenes, like with her dad and like, I guess all the sentimental stuff with like her and like her aunt and uncle, and their daughter? I think a lot of that. I think where this movie leaves off, I don't think we're gonna get any more of that in this franchise.
I hope not.
I hope not. Which is a good thing. But yeah, that was definitely dragging this movie down. However, I kind of liked the concept of the climax of having her be in such like a hopeless situation because it feels much less cliche than her in a suit of armor gaining like a sword. And obviously she does gain the sword in this one too, but it feels much more fitting for the story.
Yeah, there's some cool sword chainsaw action,
which was ear piercingly loud.
Yeah,
it's great, I guess.
No, it's fun. It's fun for sure. And there's a really good kill. Sienna's aunt.
Oh yeah.
Art and his partner in crime. They stick like a giant glass tube down her throat, and then start filling it with rats.
And they burn the rat's tails so they crawl inside of her. Which is, I think that is like a medieval torture method. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, that's like one of the worst ways to die. And it was disgusting. And then they slit her throat at the end. I was like, I think seeing stuff like crawl inside anyone is just like the worst for me. Like that was, I think, the one moment in the movie where I was like legit like squeamish.
We need more gore like this, though.
I know, like body, like
horrendous, disgusting,
things happening to the human
repulsion.
Body. Yeah, not just like being torn apart.
Yeah,
like more meticulous things, which I'm glad we have in this movie because it shows that like Damien Leone can like sort of think outside of the box to create like memorable kills.
Yeah, in the sequels, I hope it's trimmed down more and we can just focus more on truly what everyone is there to see. Like the gore and Art's devious activity.
This movie is still 2 hours long, which is an issue, but it feels more trimmed down than the second one. Like it feels like he half listened to the criticisms. But there's still many underline on bold italics on the many moments where it just feels like, okay, this scene is dragging on too long. Like we need to move on. Like it doesn't have the cohesion and sort of swiftness that a good movie should have. Yeah. It's seriously criminal that it's still over 2 hours. Yeah. Like, dude, I think 100 minutes max should be a slasher. Yeah. Unless you're trying to like do some crazy thing. Yeah. Which this movie is, but not in the way that warrants more runtime. Yeah. Slashers are too simplistic of narratives to be stretching out this long. Unless, especially
in this context what Terrifier is trying to go for.
Yeah. I do enjoy that kill sequences are dragged out though.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a staple of the series that shouldn't go away.
No, I like that too. Endless violence and torture.
Yeah.
Well, that's Terrifier 3.
That is Terrifier.
Ratings? Let's give ratings.
I give this movie a solid 6 out of 10.
Ooh.
I enjoyed it. I can't deny it. I did enjoy this as a film, if only a little bit. Like a light 6 out of 10. Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed it more than the second one, but I'd also give it the same rating, 4 out of 10.
Okay.
But a stronger 4 out of 10.
I think we're going in the right direction. And I hope this movie has 10 films.
It'll keep bumping up for me.
Yeah. And that final movie is the perfect masterpiece. That
Terrifier X.
Oh my God.
I can just picture it now. Dude,
In
Terrifier.
space.
Yeah, Terrifier in space. Terrifier on Toktua.
But it's not. There's no kills. He's just like speaking his mind to the geniuses that is Haley Welch and whoever that other girl is.
Oh, shit on that thing, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, put Art the Clown everywhere. Put him in that's like a crazy setting.
Like Smiling Friends.
Dude, honestly, he'd fit right in.
I know, bro. Yeah. That'd be insane.
Put him in a children's hospital.
Yeah. Because he's good with kids.
Yeah.
Like he proved in this movie. He's good with kids.
Oh, yeah. He's Santa.
Yeah. He gave them presents and blew them up so he can do it all. It just shows his range with like how he deals with kids.
My voice died there. Anyway, that was our discussion on Terrifier franchise.
And Terrifier 3.
Yes.
Yes.
Joshua, it's been great to have you back for an episode.
Hopefully, I wish it could have been longer, but
oopsie.
It's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
I forgive you.
Yeah. Thank you. Hopefully this doesn't happen again and we can give you all the content that we planned. But you know what? Life happens.
Life does happen.
Yeah. Hopefully we can record again.
Yeah.
Soon. We'll try to make it happen, but we're busy.
Yeah. To touch back on Chappell Roan, we can have a discussion on her next album whenever that comes out, because I'm sure I'll have just as much to say.
Oh yeah,
as I did for this. Yeah.
We'll catch you when something strikes us again. But yeah, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
HOTTOGO.
That makes me sad now.
I hate that song. But I love Art the Clown.
Shut up.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.